Welcome Strategy Battle Gamers to another GBHL YouTube video. You heard your host GBHL Tom
and GBHL Damian.
And we are here for a tournament review of the Nova Opens doubles tournament. Where we were partners.
Not life partners. No.
No. So yeah, this is the Nova Opens doubles tournament, which is kind of the warm up, I'd say, to the big grand tournament, but it was still very cool prize on offer.
Yeah.
So a lot to play for.
It was the second most prestigious event at the thing, I
Yes.
think. It wasn't a kind of fun muck around, it was an actual tournament where with prizes worth fighting for. And we were partners for the first time.
We were indeed.
Which I think would surprise a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that was weird.
Yeah.
We know when she's in trouble.
Yeah.
It's really bizarre. Yeah, I think a lot of people would think that we played in a few doubles thing, but the only one we've ever nearly come close was our own tournament when we were the ringers, and we never played in that. We didn't even get a game because of the way the teams worked out.
Yeah.
So no, we've been to lots of double tournaments, but we've never played together, so that was cool.
No.
And that
I think we've messed around in non-tournament games.
Yes. But that was also, it was quite thematic. There wasn't a lot of discussion about which the four of us splitting, was it? I think it was almost unwritten that obviously it would be Speak Friend and Question v the Fan tier, almost. Yeah. Like GBHL North v GBHL South, which was cool.
Yeah.
All
four of us brought elves.
Yeah, we did. It was an elf heavy doubles army. So we had a bit of a chat beforehand.
Yes.
But relatively quickly we settled on, at the very least, the race of our army.
Yeah.
I think because I knew we were talking about what we could combine, and I was going to take my workwood out there for some of the scenarios and stuff, so that I couldn't take another army. You were taking your elves already, and it seemed like a natural fit.
It did indeed, and you chose your 500 points.
Indeed. So I took Thranduil's Halls from the new list, so Hobbit elves, and I took as my leader both forces. No. You had one leader.
You had one leader.
Yeah, you had one. You had to pick one leader for the combined army.
Yeah.
And I took Leggy with Cloak and Elven Cloak and Armour, who was our leader for the army. I also took Thranduil, the old Thranduil, Desolation Man, with armour and bow.
Yeah.
And then they led 10 Mirkwood Rangers. I think it was 9 Palace Guard. Yeah, 9 Palace Guard with a selection of spears and shields and blades, and I think 3 Mirkwood Elves.
Yeah.
So our warbands were Legolas with 10 Rangers and the Elf with the bow.
Yeah.
And Thranduil with the Palace Guard and the 2 Elves.
Yeah.
So that was
very elite heavy.
Yeah, very elite heavy. 24 models, 6 might, and a breakpoint of 12 because the breakpoint was
important.
Was for each army.
Yeah. You only had to break one
player's army
for the opponent to count as broken.
Yeah. And so we had a bit of a chat. It wasn't just arbitrarily chosen, we had a bit of a chat, and because I took all the Palace Guard to get us to fight 6 with Bodyguard, that meant you didn't take Galadhrim Court.
Exactly. So my list was Galadriel with 5 Wood Elves with Wood Elf Spear, Haldir with Armour, Elven Cloak and Elf Bow, and he was leading 7 Wood Elf Warriors with Bow and Spear, and then the final warband was Rumil with 4 Galadhrim Warriors with Shield and Spear, 3 Galadhrim Warriors just with a shield, and 1 Galadhrim Warrior with a banner. So nothing overly, I mean, okay, it's elves, it's Rumil, but nothing overly spectacular about either. I don't think either would be that good on their own.
But the benefit, 500 points, I've always thought is a horrible points value for elves, because you get your 100-point hero and your 10 elves for 100 points, roughly. So that's your warband for 200, warband for 400, and then a spare 100 points. And what we were able to do was, because my army went elite heavy and took all the expensive models, so I had 2 full warbands-ish at 500 points, it then allowed Tom to get the extra hero in, which you wouldn't do, and still have a lot of warriors.
Still have Galadriel as well.
Yeah, so we got like a 500-point elf army. I think would normally have 2 heroes probably, and then spend points on things like sentinels and banners. Yeah. But we obviously had the banner because to the death was in the doubles. Yeah. So we thought that was worthwhile. And yeah, the basic idea was there was a lot of bows there between them, and the fight 6 would support in the way the Galadhrim Court normally did.
And good heroes.
And a bit of magic.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was our army.
It was indeed.
So the doubles tournament was on the Friday night.
Yeah.
So we'd had our fun little
Yeah, it
chaos
started
game.
at like 6 o'clock.
Started at 6. Me and James had been shopping, so we had to rush back, and we got back at about 20 to 6. I think, just in time. And hadn't eaten anything, so I just ran straight into that. And it was slightly bizarre, wasn't it? Because some teams had started at 4.
Yeah.
So because it wasn't Swiss ranked,
Mm-hmm.
it was Swiss ranked of who was playing at the time, but because there was a change in schedule, some teams started at 4, so some team still played 3 games, but finished early, and it was just going to go to the person who scored the most victory points, and that is very important.
Yes.
The scoring.
Yes. It was like the grand tournament for those who followed our journey blogs in that, just victory points. So it didn't matter if you won or lost, which is important.
And each scenario was capped at 10 victory points.
Yes.
So
Apart
theoretically,
from the last one. Last one wasn't. You could get more than 10 in the last scenario.
Could you?
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Yes, you're right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah. You're absolutely right. But what it meant was theoretically, it is all theory, you could lose all your games, score 9 points, and win the tournament.
Yeah.
So immediately you have
We could score 10 in each having lost the games.
Yeah. So immediately you have to utterly change your entire mentality about what you're trying to do in the game and realise that it's not about trying to win, it's just about trying to get every VP you possibly can.
Yeah. So that kind of manifests itself in 2 ways. One is you're trying to get maximum all the time because that's what's going to win you the tournament rather than just doing enough to win.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is that you're not necessarily worried too much about VP denial, as in you would be worried in a win-loss game because you don't want your opponent to score because they'll beat you. But in this, you don't necessarily have to do that for everything because, you don't necessarily want to have a 10-10 draw, but you don't maybe care sometimes if they get extra points because if that means that you drop points to do that.
Yeah, exactly. It's not worth you risking your own VPs because you can basically let your opponent get 10 VPs and then hope someone else sorts them out afterwards. Like make them someone else's problem.
Yeah.
As it were. So and there was...
if you get a 0, you're in deep trouble.
Yeah, as soon as you... Particularly in the doubles where there's only 3 games.
Yeah.
So you're trying to score, to the death was 10. Domination... Yeah. Was domination capped at 10?
Yeah.
For doubles?
Caps. Well, you could only get 10 anyway because 5 objectives.
Yes, of course, yeah. So it's out of 36?
I think 18, the last one.
Out of 38?
The full score was 18.
Okay, so you could get out of 38. As soon as you get, you snipe a leader and sneak a 1-0 winner to the death, you're out of the tournament.
Yeah.
There's no way you're going to get enough VPs.
You've got to go for the full VPs.
Go big or go home. So, so that was the kind of tactics behind it. But they did, as you'll see, they did require quite a lot of chatting about beforehand.
Yeah.
To nail them. So.
Yeah, scenario 1 was to the death, and we were drawn against Max and Cole.
Who were awesome.
Lovely guys.
Devon was saying they were relatively new to the game.
Yeah, I think they were from the DC area when they part of the DCHL, and they didn't take part in the grand tournament.
It was a shame.
Yeah.
Very nice guys.
But yeah, we really enjoyed playing them.
Yeah, really lovely guys. And they had brought an army that it had a lot to deal with, but it wasn't filth, I should say.
So yeah, they had Derbs was their leader, and then they had a Mori Goblin Shaman, both leading, let's say, 12 or goblins each. They had
and a
2 cave trolls.
Yeah, 2 cave trolls.
2 cave trolls. A few Warg Marauders, 2.
2 Warg Marauders, yeah.
Then a warband of Wargs and Spiders led by Ashrak, and they also had Druzag in there.
And then a Warg Chieftain.
And a Warg Chieftain, that was led by a Warg Chieftain. And then a couple of captains with another full warband of goblins?
Yeah.
There was a lot of models.
There was but if I remember, it's 1,000 points.
Yeah.
There was an awful lot of models on there. They'd taken up a lot of them in Giant Spiders and the Warg Marauders and the Cave Trolls.
Yeah.
There's still a hell of a lot of models.
Yeah.
Fighting our... I had 24, you had about 26, didn't you?
Yeah, we're about just
about
over
50.
40. 50, yeah.
Yeah. What's also important about these games is that they were an hour and a half long.
Yeah.
Doubles is obviously quicker than singles, but an hour and a half for 1,000 points is not a lot of time.
No, especially if you're trying to get full victory points.
Yeah. So in this, we want to break them without being broken to get the 5, kill the leader, who's Derbs, and keep our banner alive. They didn't have a banner, so we didn't have to kill that, so that was something. So, we had a little chat.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't... I mean, our tactic was they've got so many models and no shooting, they're going to have to march into our face, so we might as well shoot them for a few turns and then try to deal with the troll. You know, there's so much that we'd have to deal with. Galadriel can only shut down one, but hope that Thranduil's bubble will stop the trolls and then try and deal with whatever's going to be the worst for us on that turn.
We prioritised the shaman, didn't we, to, well, in theory, so that if they broke, hopefully it would collapse.
Yeah.
So we deployed, I think because it's to the death, some of our warbands, I remember Haldir's warband had to deploy.
Yeah, some were forward and some were back.
But we got quite lucky with it. And we basically then just fell back, didn't we?
Yeah, I think Haldir called a
march
on the first turn so they could move half back and shoot and then get everyone in a big line.
They moved 4.5 but still shoot.
Yeah.
And so we gradually fell back.
They marched towards us.
Yeah. It was doing the elf army thing.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't. It's not fun to face. But then equally, if you've got an army of defence 3 models, throwing them into combat with 50 goblins isn't fun either.
Mm.
But so we backed off till we got about 3 inches away from the table edge. So we almost had our battle line with the trench behind it, where like Galadriel and the banner and stuff could run up and down essentially to where they were needed.
Yeah.
And we just pelted them.
No, the key thing that with pelting them is that we targeted, was it Max or Coles? We were targeting Max's models.
Yes. Because that again, we thought, looking at the time, we're like, we don't have time to break both. And to get the VPs for breaking, as we said, you only have to break one player's army. So we very quickly thought, I think we were shooting fairly arbitrarily at the start.
Yeah.
And once we got ahead on one,
we were like,
we picked that one.
Yeah.
So, and thankfully the models were nicely distinguished. So we were just shooting at one guy's. I felt quite sorry for him.
Yeah.
We were just shooting at one guy's goblins to try and break that one army.
Yeah. And then we were pelting a lot of alerts. So that was why alerts at Derbs. That was why his goblins were dying, and they were all in the way of Derbs. So they were the ones that were getting hit on in the ways.
Their leader was in his army. Yeah, that was it. And we also got a cheeky wound on the shaman early on, didn't we?
Yes.
I don't know if Legolas did an auto hit on him or if
I think Legolas did an auto hit on him.
So we had one wound that got for his he'd used his fate, he was down to one wound.
Yeah, he used his fury and then had failed that, so he used the fate.
Thranduil channeled the Terror Bubble.
Yeah, to get
to
it
cover
to be the whole
line, because obviously we needed the 12 inches because they had so.
Yeah, and Fury was up, but it wouldn't extend the whole way. But we were hoping that we could kill the shaman with Legolas or shooting before they met us.
Because they only had one shaman, which was important.
Yeah.
So, and it also, that's the other reason I think we were targeting those goblins, because
they were out of their Fury range as well.
So we were pelting away, and we were doing well with the shooting. It was going really well, and we were sitting there quite confidently thinking, we're going to break this.
Yeah.
Because these dead goblins were kind of ratcheting up fairly quickly. Our banner seemed safe. It was touching about 83 Galathram warriors,
like,
in case
pass it.
In case a wild marauder shot managed to get through, and they were gradually getting closer to us, and then I think something like the turn before we would have hit.
Yeah, well, they actually hit us on one side because the wargs and stuff are faster. So the wargs did hit one end of our line, and we couldn't swamp them because I think we'd lost we'd won priority. So we kind of just stood where we were and let them. We said we'll let them try and pass the courage test and get in, and they got some in.
And in that against the Gribblies, Thranduil's Terror Bubble was amazing.
Yeah,
absolutely amazing, because it just stopped the wargs and the spiders charging in. And even then, even when they did, they were fighting a palace guard backed up by wood elf spears and 2 attacks with higher fight value, probably the first one fainting and a banner.
Because we sent the banner over.
Yeah.
There.
So we had a very strong line there, because obviously they can attack in force. But we were shooting at Derbs, desperately trying to get that leader points. And I had, as I said, 10 Mirkwood Rangers, and I think 9 of them had spent the turn firing and going through in the ways. And one of them the last Mirkwood Ranger couldn't get a line
No.
to him, or he would have had to shoot for a cave troll. I think that was it, which we decided wasn't worth it because he probably wouldn't wound the cave troll, and he'd be better off killing a goblin.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, there was a shaman behind the battle line, and he had this one wound left, and he had, was it three or four?
Three in the ways.
Three in the ways.
Three in the ways, and then the shaman's got fury.
Yeah, and I was like, right, I'm gonna have it. He's gonna shoot the shaman, and I think you said no, or you said,
I said,
dude, he's
he's
never gonna make
doing
it, and you can see what's going here, can't you? So
they said no. They said I said don't, and then Max and Cole said, "Go on, do it. It'll be cool."
Yeah, that was it. That's the kind of guys they were. Yeah. But, I was like, all right, yeah, let's have it. So 3 to hit, boom. First in the way, gets past. Second in the way, gets past. Third in the way, gets past. 5 to wound, wounds.
Yeah.
Fury gone, dead shaman, dead. Take it off. That was out. That was boom city.
Yeah, it was. But Max and Cole were like, "That was awesome."
Yeah, they were laughing
Rather than
about it. Yeah.
crying about the shaman being shot
So then suddenly,
unpredictably.
what they then had was an army about to attack us that was now terrified of us with goblins, and that just it ruined their plans.
Yeah.
And I remember, because if you bear in mind now, we've got to try and stop 2 wild marauders and 2 cave trolls charging, because they could. The marauders are devastating when they knock down, and the trolls could hurl, and that could have really wrecked our day. Galadriel mobilises 1.
Yeah.
I think we were able to maybe heroic move and charge marauders, but there was 1 cave troll. And I remember for 2 turns running, the troll failed its courage test to charge us, which was huge.
Yeah. Because we can't deal with 2 with Galadriel.
So by this point, we were fairly confident.
Yeah, we did. We got a wound on Derbs. Legolas did it and had to use 2 might on the.
Yes.
We knew it was the we had this turn and the one after, so we did the 2 might.
Yeah, you're right.
To get the wound.
Didn't he hit with all 3?
Yeah, he hit with all 3.
And then you rolled a 4 highest wound. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we burnt 2 might to get the leader wound.
Yeah, I think he'd already taken his fate from all these other shots previously, but hadn't taken a wound.
And again, you've got to change your mentality. Remember, you've only got an hour and a half, and you have to get every VP you possibly can.
Yeah.
And by this point, I think we were in charge at the table. The whole army was terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
They were just about to hit us, severely weakened, and only able to charge, a third of their models, I guess. And then we realised, suddenly, it was like, right, it's the last turn.
Yeah.
And they weren't broken.
And it was still we needed to kill so many, and we were trying to work out, because we knew how many we needed to kill. Let's say it's 7. We needed to make sure there were 7 favourable combats where we were guaranteed to kill.
Against Cole's models.
Yeah, against Max's. Just against Max's models, and there were maybe about 5 where we were like, they should go down. They're trapped, or
they're on the floor. Because some
were on the floor. We've done a Nature's Wrath.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was 2 in there where you were like, that could go either way, because we had 2 heroic combats going with Thranduil and Haldir.
Yeah, just to kill a guy and go on and fight another guy, I think.
I mean, they were inflicting some casualties because they had an enraged warg smash some wood elves up. But yeah, it was all on these.
We only took. There was some stat like we only lost 6 models, but I think until the last turn we'd only lost 1 model.
Yeah, it was in that last round of combat.
Yeah, we lost about 5 because the Wild Chieftain heroic combat, I think, and killed about 4 elves.
Yeah, enraged Wild
Chieftain
or something.
I think up to the final turn we'd lost a model.
Yeah.
Just because they were essentially walking towards us.
Yeah, and I think the Warg Marauder shot 1.
Yeah. So yeah, we're working our way down the combat line, starting on very confidently. Because I don't think we needed to kill 7. I think we needed to kill like 4 or something.
No, I thought it was a reasonable amount, but there were some
quite
obvious
doable
ones because some were on the floor.
And then I just remember 2 of them. I think like 2 combats choked.
Yeah.
I remember I kept saying, bear in mind we could tell whose were whose by the bases, and because they were knocked down, it was quite hard to. And I kept saying to you as we were getting through the combat, so, is there enough? Is there enough? Is there enough? Because suddenly, like, you go from this point of essentially nearly getting an 8-0 win. And if we don't break them, it's a 3-0 win.
Yeah.
Which is huge in this tournament.
Yeah.
Because as we said, winning doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You need the VPs. And we're going along, and these 2 combats or something, I remember, went the wrong way, and Thranduil, I think, had to use another might point
to win his heroic combat to then go into a spider. He went into a spider, so we had Thranduil on a spider, needing to do 2 wounds.
Yeah.
I think he had 1 friend with him, and then 2 guys on a spider needing to do 2 wounds.
Yeah.
And at that point, we needed 1 more.
Yeah. So if either of these spiders went down, and then Thranduil didn't kill it.
No.
And I was like, oh god.
So we had 2 elves on a spider. So they need to win the fight. Okay, they're likely to do that. Perhaps both 2 dice, but higher fight. And then you need double 4s to kill.
And suddenly you realise from being very, very, very confident, and you're not going to lose the game,
Yeah.
but again, losing doesn't matter, it suddenly got to this incredibly tense final roll. And it was the last combat.
I think you rolled it, didn't you?
Yeah, and then, like a boss, double 4 or 5, and we go,
Kills it.
killed the last spider in the last combat.
To
broke
break,
them.
yeah.
Couldn't get dead. Oh, that was it.
Legolas did an auto hit on the last turn against
Was there
Dibs.
3 shots again? I thought
Did he do 3 shots?
I can't remember.
But he basically needed a 5 on the wound.
Yeah, because did he have 1 might left?
Yeah, he had 1 might left.
And he rolled the 4, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right. It was,
It was
a 1 auto hit,
Yeah.
and he needed a 5, and he got a 4. That would have killed the leader.
Yeah.
So that was agonising, but take that.
Yeah.
And so we killed the model, broke the army, and our banner was safe.
Yeah. So from our point of view, it was tense in that it was tense to get the victory points. It would have been a lot nicer if we'd got into the fight and could have had a big scrap.
Yeah.
But that was the factor of the 1.5 hours because it
would
creeps
have
up
been
on you
nice,
really
yeah.
quickly. Like we.
But I mean, it's 1,000 points. There's
Yeah.
a lot of models to move.
Yeah.
Particularly in the first few turns.
Yeah.
And yeah, the plan worked,
Mm-hmm.
which was stand back, shoot, break 1 army,
Yeah.
and keep the banner alive. It did work, but it was incredibly close.
Yeah.
We were very pleased to come through it.
Yeah.
And great guys.
Yeah.
Really, really
Yeah,
lovely
lovely.
folks. Took defeat in very gracious
Yes.
fashion and were lovely about it.
And then packed up the stuff, went to the next table and smashed James and Jamie.
Yeah, this is true, yeah. Again, because of the scenario.
Yeah.
Because of playing the scenario the right way.
Mm-hmm.
So, for our second game, and it was straight into it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I was getting very hungry by this point.
Yeah.
We played
Hungry for victory.
with DCHL Rob
We did.
and his partner Andrew.
Yes. And they had a fiefdom / Gondor army.
And they were both wearing blue t-shirts with the white tree of Gondor. And I remember them rocking up going, we've got an insider on this one. And you were wearing the same
I was
t-shirt.
wearing it wasn't quite the same, but mine was a black t-shirt with the white tree of Gondor.
You're like a spy on their team. And when we saw this army, we nearly cried.
Because it's domination and you have to get the objectives. And they had... So Rob's half was the Gondor. He had Boromir of the White Tower with leading Fountain Court backed up by Citadel Guard, bowmen with spears. And then he had...
I think that was
Who was the other Gondor?
Baragond?
Was it Baragond?
Yeah, I'm sure he had Baragond. Kyrian was in there, actually.
Oh yeah, Kirion with kind of the same setup of Fountain Court with Citadel Guard with spear.
Which meant not only high defence, but they would all be bodyguards, so
Yeah.
Thranduil's terror bubble would do nothing.
No, I think there was some Minister in there as well.
Mm.
And maybe Baragond as well. And then Andrew had Imrahil mounted with Knights of Dol Amroth mounted, and a Dol Amroth captain on foot leading a big Dol Amroth like 4 front lines plus 8 pikes or something.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it was a block of 12.
Yeah, block of 12 phalanx. And did he have one more warband?
No, I think that was it. Imrahil and all the knights, and then the captain and the...
Yeah, maybe that's enough points. So yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I think so.
They have a banner in there. I can't remember.
No.
No.
Wouldn't have mattered.
Just in
domination.
one. Yeah.
But yeah, so importantly in this game,
There's no
there's
leader.
no
or
leader
break-in.
kills, there's no break-in, and each objective is only worth 2 victory points.
And it's how many points you have within 3 inches.
Yeah,
Points
not
of
how
models,
many
not
models.
how many models.
So if you've got, it's deliberately designed to stop hordes, I think. So
Mhm.
you could have 10 goblins, and I don't know, like cave troll,
Yeah.
and a cave troll would win
Yeah.
because it would cost more, which is interesting, and I actually really liked that
Yeah.
about those scenarios.
Yeah.
So we were terrified because pretty much everything was defense 6.
Yeah.
All the front line was defense 6,
Yeah.
and everything was strength 3, and it was domination.
And they had cavalry to get to our home objectives as well.
Yeah. And so we had a good old chat about this one.
We did.
Because again, the obvious tactic is you sit back on your 2 objectives like normal and you shoot. And we were like, well,
and you rush the 3rd objective and win that one.
And we were thinking the shooting probably won't do much against defence 6, but then also we're then looking to win 6 points.
Yeah.
Which probably isn't going to be enough for the tournament because you've got to go for 10.
Yes.
So,
in a bold move.
yeah, we rolled the dice, didn't we?
Yeah.
We threw the dice. And
yeah, we set up trying to win all the objectives. So we set up, the only way you can win all the objectives really if you don't have cavalry is setting up on the front line. Because then you've got time to get to them, especially with the hour and a half time limit. We were like, we have to set up on the front. So they deployed their first warband on the front, and we were like, alright, we see that. Palace Guard
see that
in the middle.
Raging elves.
Yeah. And I think they were a bit shocked and were like, alright, this is going to be a game.
I think everyone at the tournament was shocked.
Yeah.
I think we were shocked.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, should we be doing this?
Yeah.
And then that, so we basically set up our defence 3 bow heavy army
on the front.
in their faces.
Yeah, so we had Palace Guard in the centre with Michael Athram, and then on one flank the Mirkwood Rangers front line, and then on the...
We tried to make our front line as hard as possible with the defence 4 and 5 Palace Guard and Galadriel.
And then on the left hand flank was Haldir and his guys. So we had Galadriel Legolas on this flank, Thranduil in the middle with his bubble that will have minimal effect, and
I believe
Haldir.
The tactic was shield.
Yes.
Wasn't it?
Well, the tactic
in the middle.
The tactic we thought we should win our home ones by sending stuff back. We don't want them to get round us, so the key plan was stopping the cavalry.
Yeah.
Which fell upon the Mirkwood Rangers with the way deployment went.
Combat monsters.
But Legolas and Galadriel were over there. And then, in the middle of the Palace Guard, hold up. There's Boromir in there, just don't let them break through and come through to our home ones. It was like, just don't die. And then we thought Haldir could do a job at getting round. We wanted to pressurise both their flanks, so we thought Haldir could pressurise that left flank.
We were essentially
Get Dol Amroth.
The tactic was to win 4, wasn't it? To try and break through to the sidelines.
Yeah.
Because you've got to try. You've got to come up with some way that you're going to get all 10.
Yeah.
However unlikely it is. And we deployed, and I remember we were all joking and laughing, saying this is either absolutely genius or the stupidest thing we could have possibly done.
Yeah.
And I think it was Rob going, well, we're going to find out in about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And priority came off.
Mhm.
And I think we won it first. And
I think we lost it. We did a heroic move.
We did a heroic move.
Yeah, I think.
And to my surprise, I think, and this is, I think, pretty much the only tactical mistake they made.
Yeah.
They didn't counter it with the cavalry.
So we did a heroic move. Not nowhere else, but on the right flank. Legolas called it, I think, to get into the cavalry.
To charge them.
To stop Imrahil and his knights charging on go one. Because they'd set up at the front, not expecting us really, I think, to set up there.
Quite
and then
right.
we just put the Mirkwood Rangers right in front of the cavalry in charge distance.
So yeah, I think that they thought the knights, quite rightly I think, could take the charge. And so I wanted to save them.
With Imrahil's banner.
Yeah. And so it didn't counter, which, we were like, well, brilliant. Because the whole plan hinges essentially on the knights not charging us. Because we knew as soon as the knights charged the rangers, they're gone. They're dead completely. And so we got the jump on them there. And what we basically did was throw a ranger. If you imagine they had about 10 knights, we put a ranger on 2 knights and then put a wood elf support behind them.
Yeah.
So suddenly we've got 3 attacks with a higher fight against essentially 2 attacks because of the banner.
And then on maybe 1 or 2 we were able to put quite a few on because we got so few models tying up so many of theirs.
And then everywhere else the battle line went and that just went into the
Apart
Gondor.
from Haldir and a few friends. So right on this flank they deployed, there was a building, like a wall, that was kind of running north-south on the board, so between both players. And they set up their phalanx on one side of the wall. So Haldir and some ran round the wall to try and outflank them. So the wall was a convenient block from them.
The bonus for us was that all those guys had spears.
Yeah.
So even when they were away from the enemy, they could tuck onto someone and give them a better spear support.
Yeah.
And the wall also was a nice anchor for us.
Yeah.
Because the Gondor were on the other side, this
Yeah.
side of the wall, so they couldn't.
Yeah, once we
come
moved
through out
Haldo
there.
around, they were never going to get round that
Yeah.
way.
Which was handy. So that whole battle line was relatively inconclusive.
Mhm.
Like we got some kills, they got some kills, I think.
Yeah.
But we were just shielding, weren't we?
Yeah, unless
Using the
unless it was
banner.
favourable, we were shielding with the banner.
And higher fight, to just because obviously the Wood Elves can parry,
Yeah.
and the Merc Wood Elves had glaives.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. It was just trying. It was on the ones where we weren't shielding were obviously the Merc Rangers who can't, but basically the two flanks weren't. They
And
were the
how
ones who were attacking.
Haldir's guys were fighting their way to the juicy defence
Yeah.
5 pikemen.
Yes.
Because that was the other thing, the phalanx was right over here, but as soon as we got into the back of it, the phalanx was basically a bunch of men against a bunch of
I
elves.
think Haldo did a heroic combat early on in the game as well to get him and a few guys to then be moving round to the back of that phalanx to break off. There were definitely pikes fighting against us that weren't then fighting our front line.
Yeah. But the real breakthrough came over against the knights over here, when these 3 attacks and the rangers, and I think it only happened once in the first turn, but a Mercury Ranger won and then killed 2 horses.
Yeah, we were always striking the horses because that's what we were scared about.
6s.
And also, if you think about the points on the objective, so they had their 2 home objectives, and they were reasonably far forward. I think because they thought we'd sit back, so put
That
their
would be
2
the same
forward,
thing,
1 in
wouldn't
the
it?
middle, and then they charge towards ours. But yeah, if you kill the horse, that's what 9 points on the Dolamroth.
Yeah,
gone.
it reduced. It wasn't the starting cost of the model; it was what was
Yeah.
left. So if you killed an amount of something, it counted as less points for the objective.
Yeah, and okay, yeah, you could kill the man, and that's all of the points, but you need 6 for that rather than 5. So it was well worth us
So
killing the horses.
these rangers were winning, and as I said, one of them killed 2 horses. I think we probably killed another horse.
Yeah.
Imrihill was swamped from the
We
first
did
turn.
1 shot in the entire game, and that was legless turn 1 on Imrihill, and we were discussing how much might.
How much might do
1,
you blow
2?
on that? Yeah, I was saying 2.
Yeah, I
So
think
if you get the
If you get 4.
if
No,
you
he needs a 5 to do
needs
it.
a 5
So
to
if he
kill.
rolls a 3.
Use 2,
Just
whereas
do
you
it.
were saying use 1.
Yeah, I said do use 1.
So he's one will chuck a dice 6. Didn't matter. Dead, take it off. It was an early kind of
Yeah.
because it's one of those things that can so easily go
Yeah.
wrong. You go just kill his horse, roll dice 1.
Yeah.
God.
So yeah, that was it on turn 1. We shoved loads. We kind of tied up as best we could with Palace Guard and shielding, so that we could then I think we put 4 on Imrihill to stop him heroic combating.
Yeah.
We deliberately tried to tie him up as much as possible, not to kill him, but just to stop him tearing through us.
And was Galadriel immobilising Boromir? Because
Yeah,
Boromir
Boromir
wasn't
was-
achieving a lot.
Not early. I think he resisted with the will, didn't he?
Yeah. There was a point where you immobilised him, and they were debating using 2 or all 3,
Mm-hmm.
and they used
Yeah,
2,
they used
and
2.
we were quite happy about that.
Yeah.
Didn't they roll a dice for it in the end?
Yeah, it was 1, 2, 3. They'd roll
2,
2,
and then 4, 5, 6. They'd roll 3.
3 will, and they chuck 2 will at it.
And we were obviously knowing there were more turns, hoping they'd chuck all 3.
We wanted them to chuck all 3, so Thranduil you could do the whole immobilise, lose their will,
Nature's
then
Wrath.
Nature's Wrath. So they chucked 2, and
I
then
think they choked on it, like they rolled a 4,
and
so
then
they
had
had to use might.
Yeah.
Because Boromir didn't achieve
Yeah,
a lot
Boromir
in
had
the
to use
game.
2 might, I think, to stop the immobilise.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah.
That's practically a win.
Yeah.
And he's in the middle of the line. And I think then one turn I have a feeling he called a heroic combat, but then didn't kill the elf he was fighting. I have a
Maybe,
vague
yeah.
feeling,
Yeah.
which is outstanding.
Yeah. I think we were trying to. We were either immobilising Imrihill or.
Because I
Boromir.
think we were immobilising Boromir because Imrihill we could strike against and stuff.
And we also, on one move, immobilised the Dolamroth captain because he'd called a heroic move.
Yep.
And with we'd both called multiple heroics, and sending Galadriel, we won the heroic over here. And then obviously they could do that one first, so Galadriel meandered over, immobilised the Dolamroth, so
Yeah.
we'd get the jump over there.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good move. And then over here with the knights, the Rangers just kept it doing it.
Yeah.
And there was definitely another turn. There was definitely 2 separate occasions where
It was a roll off the next turn. There were 2 heroic moves
Right, yeah.
on turn 2 for that.
But there was definitely two separate times in the game where a Mercury Ranger killed 2 horses
Yeah.
in the same round. It was glorious. just shank, and they were tearing these knights apart, and then of course all you've got is then like a knight on the floor, and you manage to get 3 elves on, trap him and kill him.
But then go one, I think we did badly in the middle, even though I think Boromir didn't do great, but the Fountain Court backed up by the Citadel Guard shot through a lot of Galadhrim.
We were definitely winning over here and winning over here, but this line that was just shielding for its life.
It got a big empty hole at the start.
Like, and then we had to keep sending guys over to just try and stop Boromir.
Yeah, and they did one very good move in that Kirion called a heroic combat, killed our guy and got onto our banner bearer and killed it.
Yeah.
So that was a very good move from them.
And also, terrifyingly, we'd sent 2 Palace Guard, because they had bodyguard, back towards our home objectives.
Yeah.
And Kirion, coming forward, ended up 7 inches away from the guy. Thankfully, this was almost guaranteed for us. But suddenly this guy, if he'd just been a little closer, could have charged Kirion could have charged the Palace Guard.
That would have been horrific, yeah.
That would have been awful.
Yeah, but then I think we got Boromir down to no will, or made him chuck 1 dice at the Nature's Wrath resist, and there was no resist, so in the middle they went down, which was, I think, the turn after Kirion had broke through.
Not sure
we
if
must
knocked
have
him down.
Maybe Kirion was out. No, we made sure Kirion was out of the bubble, didn't we? We made sure Kirion...
Yeah, I think so, because he had all as well. But knocked everything down, but then, even then, didn't take the... If you had 1 elf against 1 Gondor guy on the floor, didn't take the risk of killing him, and just kept shielding.
Yeah.
To keep them off, because again, it was really interesting, but you have to change your mentality about what you're trying to do.
You don't need to break them.
No, breaking them achieves nothing. Yeah. All you've got to do is keep them off the objective and keep them from moving.
And I don't know who stopped Kirion. I think we had some guys come in on Kirion.
You killed him, right? Kirion went down, I think.
I think maybe not.
I don't remember him being a big issue in that point.
No.
In the end.
But yeah, Haldir was doing outstanding work on this flank, getting round and then into the back of the Dol Amroth pike block, and then the Dol Amroth captain was having trouble with his fight 4.
It became pretty clear that we were going to actually win that objective, wasn't it? Just because even if they came and attacked us, the points of Haldir and about 6 elves were going to outweigh the points of... This is where the interesting thing about the scenario comes in, that it's not about, they can just chuck 7 guys in, it's about the total points.
Yeah. And then
so heroes are huge in it.
Yeah, exactly. And then Imrahil, because we kind of swamped him, was, 6 inches away from the home objective, and was not going to get out without her combating. So then we sent, in the end, Galadriel over there.
To the objective,
because she's 130 points, so it's guaranteed to win it if she goes over there.
Did we kill Imrahil? I think we took him down.
I think we did in the last turn.
Legolas was fine against
him. Yeah, Legolas were combated to get towards the middle.
Yeah, but didn't it fail? I remember that was a gambit we had.
Maybe.
Because I think he was fighting a Fountain Court.
Yeah.
And he had to charge into it.
Yeah.
Kill it, and then he'd move into the middle and get like 105 points.
Because we had Thranduil in there, but they did a heroic combat with Boromir on last turn and got Boromir in, so that was it for the middle. But we weren't.
And they still had a lot of their guys.
Yeah, we weren't trying. I mean, obviously we're trying to get the middle if we could, but we knew with Boromir around that was going to be incredibly tough. So yeah, Boromir went into the middle, and that was, we've lost the middle, but we contested it because we got a guy. We had Thranduil in there.
And then we just managed to somehow, against all the odds, kind of come in on these 2 flanks and take them. So we had 1 guy sitting on both of these objectives.
The home objectives.
Home ones.
Yeah.
And then
which they hadn't got to because we stopped the cavalry from getting around us, and Kirion hadn't quite made it.
Oh, brave shielding line.
Yeah.
And then we had, so that's 2 victory points, 4 victory points. We'd won this one up here, 6 victory points. We'd won this one here, 8 victory points.
But they were contested, so it's 2-1, 2-1.
Yeah.
So that becomes 8-2.
8-2. And then in the middle, they'd won it, so that was 8-4. But we had guys on it, so we got 1. So we managed to get, I think it was a 9-4.
Yeah.
And we were over the moon with that. I mean, not just over the moon to get 9 out of 10 at domination, but I think, I hope to say this relatively humbly, but we were very pleased with how we played it.
Yeah, because we ignored everything we'd usually do.
Yeah.
And went for, let's just do it in combat, because that's what you need to do.
Like the logic is still, we've got far up, I don't think they had any bows, did they?
No.
There might have been a couple, but
Oh, they had the Citadel Guard.
yeah. But we could easily outshoot
Legolas
them.
was the only shot in the game.
Yeah.
Because we had Blinding Light.
And it was nice as well. I think our opponents enjoyed it because they came up. We essentially did the opposite of the first game.
Yeah.
That they came up against an elf army that they probably, even though they would have won, they were probably like, oh, they're just going to stand back and shoot us. And instead we just had huge combats for the entire game. Fun. It was great. And Rob and Andrew were great. And I just remember laughing for an hour and a half.
It was
really so great fun. Game.
Yeah, they were great guys.
Yeah.
And I think there was one where there were points where I think we were getting, because you roll your own dice for each side, and I think Andrew did some bad ones, and maybe me or you were doing some outstanding ones because you were the Mercury Ranger. Some funny moments about us who was rolling. Because James and Jamie were on the table next to us, and they were up against Max and Cole's huge goblin army, and I don't think they could have done the same because they had Rivendell Knights, part Rivendell Knights, and if they'd set up right at the front,
but they had
probably
the issue
have collapsed.
They
didn't have enough.
They were trying to depend on the shooting.
Yeah.
And they're at the back, and you just saw this giant curve of goblins just coming forward. That I think they beat in combat, but they just never had the chance to get round the back because of the time. And so we were well chuffed with that.
Yeah.
And then after that game, we realised, which was great. So cheers to Andrew. We realised that some of the teams had finished.
Yeah.
And Walker's team had finished on 24 victory. As we said, they'd started at 4, so they'd played their 3 games.
It was Walker and Brian, so Brian who won the Deadliest Heroes.
Mm. And they'd finished on 24 victory points.
Yeah.
So we were on 17. So we knew and we were doing very well in the remaining teams, so we knew that we needed to score 9. Yeah.
8, is it?
Yes. Yeah, sorry, 8.
What we were on? We were on 19 and they were on...
No, we were on 17.
17 and they were on 24.
So we scored 8 to beat them.
Yeah, but we knew that other people were around our score. So we looked at the next scenario and thought we'll come into who our opponent is, but we were like, we can realistically get 10 max out of 18.
Yeah.
And then our next challengers beneath us,
they were sort of...
They needed all 18 to pass us if we got the 10. Yeah. So we were gambling that we'd play to try to get 10 in our final game and hope that they didn't win 18-0 in their final game.
We basically took the punt that we were like, we're going to take a relatively safe course and try and get 10 rather than pushing for the 18. And then if someone manages to get 18, then fair play to them.
Because I think we shot ahead because of the domination. Not many people got near to 10.
Yeah.
That's what did us. Yeah. That gave us that comfort zone for the final game.
I think we were a relatively low model count. I was so chuffed for that. So pleased. So we came to the final game and it was Swiss rank, so we were playing against the guys who were at that point.
Yeah, so I'm discounting them. Discounting them. We were assuming that we would win. So then our next challengers who were not playing us needed 18.
Yeah, if we get the 10, you could deny them.
Yeah.
And this was a modified version of Storm Camp. Although in their Nova review video they said that they want to call it something different because people were thinking it was Storm Camp, but it was just a similar scenario.
Yeah.
And this one, it was a similar sort of thing. So if you imagine 12 inches onto your table edge, you're on from your table edge, so down here, the entire width of the board is your camp. Mm-hmm. Sort of like a deployment zone.
12 inches on. Yeah.
And what you have to do is get into the enemy's deployment zone.
Mm-hmm.
There were leader point. There were 3 points for killing the leader.
Yeah, 1 and 3.
Yeah, 3 for breaking like normal.
Yeah.
Just trying to think how you could get to 18. What are the extra 2?
Was it 3 and 5 for breaking?
I think it might have been like 2 if you had. Yeah, it was. I think you got 2 victory points if you had models in the enemy's deployment zone at the end of the game, or something like that. I don't know. I can tell you how you got 16.
Yeah.
You got 3 for leader, 3 for breaking. You then got 5 victory points if when the game ended you had more models than your opponent in their deployment zone.
Yeah.
And then in a particularly juicy bonus, you got another 5 if you had a banner in the opponent's deployment zone at the end of the game.
Yeah, it
So-
must have been 3 and 5 for breaking.
Possibly. Yeah, it might have been. Yeah, it could have been. So there you go. 5 for getting into the deployment zone. 5, another 5 for a banner. Let's say 5 for breaking and 3 for lead kills.
Yeah.
And we were after the 10, and we figured the 10 we can get into the enemy's deployment zone
With the banner.
with the banner. And part of this was based on the army. we
Yeah,
found.
because we were fighting Jacob and Alex, and Jacob had his Fellbeast, so he had the 91 Barn Fellbeast and the Shadow Lord and Fellbeast, and then he had the Undying as his general on horse rather than Fellbeast because of the points. But yeah, the Undying on horse, we're like, we're not realistically going to get the general points if we're busy concentrating on running into that deployment zone. And Alex had the numbers of the army in that he had the Spider Queen, Shelob, Rizog,
Juzag, yeah,
and then a load of giant spiders.
and Ashrak.
Yeah.
Two,
That's
they
right.
were all the Venom back ones.
Yeah.
And a Wild Marauder.
Yes, and a Wild Marauder. And then one Goblin Archer
Goblin Archer.
to fill up the 5 points.
So, this was a scary looking army. And lots of stuff that can hurt.
Yeah.
But again, for the scenario,
It was
We
lower
were like-
numbers than us, which
yeah.
is great.
so we were thinking, hang on, we can get this. And the thing was, you could deploy. Could you deploy it on the centre line?
No, it was on the 12-inch line. I know. Yeah, it was.
I think you could deploy at the centre.
Yeah, it was that, yeah.
Yeah, you could deploy it up to the centre line.
Yeah.
That was it. So this one we had a long chat about.
Yeah.
And I think they were as well, because there's a lot to think about in
Yeah.
this. And the crucial line in the scenario is the game ends in any turn if you have more models in the opponent's deployment zone than they do.
Yeah.
So the huge bonus for us was that we had many more models.
Yeah.
And again, we didn't care what they did, we just wanted to get our 10 VPs.
Yeah.
So we counted up their models, which was about
because
16.
we were ahead of them at this point.
Yeah. You have about 16 models? They have about 16?
I can't remember, yeah, maybe something like that.
Because I think we left 20, didn't we?
Yeah, we left a garrison to, even if they brought their entire army to us, they'd have to do well at killing stuff to get enough in to beat us on turn 1.
Yeah. Because we had Legolas and the Rangers,
Yeah.
and then Haldir and his warband.
back. Yeah.
So that meant that they're not going to get all their monsters into us. They'll probably get a couple of fell beasts. So then they're going to have to kill loads to have warned us in turn 1. Meanwhile, we've got our garrison here. Everything else is here
On this flank, ready
on this
to
flank,
march.
where there's a pleasant wood in the middle. Bear in mind, we are 12 inches away from their deployment zone.
Yeah.
There, yeah. So about 30 elves over there with Rumil, Thranduil, and Galadriel, and a banner
reasonable amount
in the middle,
ringed.
ringed like you wouldn't believe. And in the first turn, we called a heroic march.
Yeah.
This whole contingent goes, woof,
Yeah.
and they went for Legolas.
Yeah, I think they moved before us because we marched after they'd moved. I think.
Yeah, that could be right.
I think they won priority. We didn't call any heroics.
And they were immediately going for the leader kills.
Yeah, they put in Shadow Lord. One of them commanded the guy in front of Legolas out of the way.
No, he didn't, because they did 3 commands on him. He had 3
but
raids.
he had a guy in front of him, so they commanded him out of the way, and then we didn't have anything to stop the next command.
I don't think they did. I think we forgot to put a guy in front
You
of him.
think we forgot to put a guy
Because
in front of him?
they had 3 raids.
All
They
commanded.
They commanded him.
Yeah.
He chucked 2 will and resisted.
Yeah.
They then commanded him again with the second wraith. And every time using about 3 or 4. Chucked 1 and he resisted it on
he did.
6.
Yeah.
And then so the third wraith had to command him.
And got him.
And got him, which I was kind of like, you know what, I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
And it was stupid, like I'd foolishly moved the ranger out of the way in front of him so that they could target him. But he came out, and then a fell beast,
It was the Spider Queen.
Spider Queen, leapt on him, killed him in one go.
Well, we decided not to charge the Spider Queen, but because they went first.
Yeah.
Then we decided to retreat rather than.
We left legged.
It's like we can
I
leave.
think we could have put 2 rangers on
2 could have.
and worked out that she had. Did she have 3 attacks on the charge?
I can't. Yeah. Oh, yeah, 3 or 4.
I think it's 3, and then she had 2 might or something, and it was like she's not
she's
going to
kill them anyway.
And all you're going to do is chuck guys in.
Yeah,
first
chuck guys. So, like.
And so we just left Leggy. Again, it's like normally that's 3 VPs for your leader.
Yeah.
It's a huge mistake. This was like doesn't matter.
Yeah, it was whatever 8 dice needing 3s, re-rolling all wounds because of
just room.
Whatever.
But and Legolas died.
Yeah.
And we were like, sorry mate.
I like it.
Sorry Leggy. Never mind.
Yeah.
And it genuinely felt like he did his job.
Yeah.
Like
because he
taking 12 will or whatever from the raise.
And then we marched here.
Yeah.
And then they had that, I think, the realisation of rereading the rules and being like, it's going to end.
He leant over to me and said, I think they've just realised the trouble they're in.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Because they started being like, hang on a minute, why have they just...
Why don't they care
why
what we're
don't
doing
they
to
care?
Legolas?
And then they did a change of plan and then moved everything back to try and stop us.
Yeah. So then that was turn 1. So
Yeah.
turn 2 starts. We do the same thing, call a heroic move, call a heroic march.
Yeah.
So that everything would just push up, and that would get us, I don't know what it was, 10 models into the deployment zone or something, including the banner.
Yeah.
They called a heroic move or whatever with the guys. Won the move roll off, I believe.
Yeah.
Managed to get 2 fell beasts in.
Yeah. Yeah, Umbar and Shadow Lord were in, and Shelob was in.
Yeah, and we
Enraged
countercharged with Rumil.
Yeah.
Rumil went in against Shelob.
No, against Umbar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, because Shelob was at the top, and then it was Shelob and then 2 rays. Rumil went because they'd won the heroic move off, so we were able to get Rumil in against one of the rays. And then I think the Ola guys here just shot at a few things. I think they had some cheeky shots at the Undying.
Yeah, they did and didn't.
I think we were hoping for 1 dice to get through and then fail 15 fate.
Yeah.
But obviously they didn't go.
But yeah, they then brought whatever the goblins, a few, some of the spiders back into the deployment zone to at least give them a chance of killing enough via a hurl or something, or heroic combats to stop us winning on that turn.
Crucially, our like battle line here had absorbed them, and then I think they had stopped the heroic move. They'd immobilised Thranduil,
not the march.
But not the march, which then meant when all the guys like Galadriel had done the march and she was perfectly safe.
Yeah.
She was then able to mean that about 12 guys or something went, including the banner, went into the deployment zone.
And then we had the banner touching as many as possible.
Yeah. And then the fight phase, Rumor called a heroic combat, didn't he?
Yeah, he must have been on a spider or something.
He was on Felbeast, we took down the Felbeast.
Oh yeah, he did a heroic combat on
one of them. Yeah. It killed him.
Yeah.
And then went on to the next one and didn't kill him. We didn't take them both down, did we?
No.
Oh, no, maybe we did.
But we just took Umbar down.
Shelob, who I think was fighting Thranduil.
She was enraged, yeah.
She was enraged.
Yeah.
Killed him and did the mother of all hurls.
Yeah. So an enraged, what's her strength? 10?
I think she threw 11 inches.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? It was absolutely horrific.
Into the banner.
Yeah, into the banner.
It hit the banner. The banner was 11 inches away.
Thankfully. Would have been alright anyway, touching loads of guys.
Yeah.
Thankfully didn't kill the banner. And then of course, at the end of that turn, we had more models in the deployment zone than they did, so the game ended.
And it sounds poor that it was a 2-turn game, but that took an hour or so.
It took a long time.
We were thinking about the moves, and I think they regretted, they're coming forward and then having to run back, but I think they should have gone for the win in our deployment zone and left us, and at least could have got points without the banner. As in, we could have ended on the same turn with. If you had models in your enemy deployment zone, that got you some victory points, and then if you had more, so they were unlikely to get more than us, but they could have had some in there.
Yeah.
But they moved everything back to try and stop us.
I think as well, they just by the limited number of models they had, they were always going to struggle.
Yeah.
Because we could always just split into 2 and kind of.
Yeah.
They can't stop us and get forward. And it was a tough draw for them.
Yeah.
Particularly when we have elves, which are very good at taking down Felbeast.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was really good. It was really enjoyable.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like, say it's 2 turns, seems like, with about 4 combats.
Yeah.
Seems like an awful game, but it wasn't at all.
And they enjoyed Shelob's hurl because I think she killed about 4 or 5 elves on the way as well.
But of course, we got our 10 points,
Mm-hmm.
which is what mattered, and so we were very pleased with that.
Oh yeah, and then who was it? They were playing. Were they playing the Blackfire?
Yeah.
Guys.
So then we had the one army that. So we'd got our max temp. Well,
Max
the
for
10
what we
were
were
on,
after.
so we were on 27. We'd overtaken Walker, who's on 24, and so we then just needed the other army.
The Son of Ale army, wasn't it?
To not get 18. It was like, they can win, just don't get 18. And our good friends from Canada, it was Adam and Sam, weren't they?
Yeah.
They were playing together. Did us the wonderful favour of just plain beating
Yeah.
the Rohan army.
Yeah.
So I don't think they got anything. I think they might have got none for it.
No, so Walker and Brian were clear second,
Yeah.
and then so yeah, we were on 27. Then there was 24, and I think the next was on maybe 20 VP. So
And so,
yeah,
spoilers, we won the doubles. Whoop, whoop. Boom.
100% record at tournaments together.
We retire undefeated.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was great. We won and we were thrilled.
Mm.
And I think
And it was midnight at this point.
it ended at midnight. It was crazy. So we went for victory beer.
Yeah.
But I think I was particularly pleased in the last 2 games that it was tactics.
Yeah.
It really, like, everyone, it's a dice game, but it's not. You put yourself in the positions that the dice don't matter as much.
Yeah.
And we worked out how to do well in those last 2 games, and I was very proud of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we played well together.
Yeah, we had some enjoyable tactical discussions.
It was good. We seemed to be on the same page about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. So we won, and we were very pleased. And we got, Tom hasn't got his here,
No,
but we got this
the same of it.
charming trophy, which is a sticker up here, and is infuriatingly crooked. But it says November 2015 Lord of the Rings Hobbit double tournament. That annoys me as well. Should be double tournament champion. Or maybe it's because it makes sense for you. Spoilers. There's 2 tournaments, double tournament champion. But double tournament champion and piece of card.
No, we got a replica One Ring.
Yeah.
From Weta, which is awesome with the inscription on the inside and outside.
We got the One Ring, both of us.
Yeah. The one and only One Ring. But yeah, it's a tungsten, I think, with gold plating.
Yeah.
But it's cool. It's
cool.
It's quite heavy. It's quite cool.
It's quite cool. He doesn't know. Gandalf hasn't touched it.
Yeah, okay. 24 karat gold, apparently. Plated. Not solid, don't know.
So there we go. But yeah,
That
it was
was
awesome.
a really cool prize.
Yeah, it was great. And bear in mind that was the first tournament we entered. Seriously, it was awesome for Team GB.
Yep.
We were very chuffed with that.
Yeah, and James and Jamie were well behind us for the last game because they were out of it after their Max and Cole defeat. But they were very supportive of us.
It was cool. There was for the whole tournament, there was a real nice team atmosphere between the 4 of us. It was great. We wanted each other to win. We didn't care about
We wanted to come top 2 in the doubles and top 4 in the singles.
Yeah,
that was the
that
aim.
was the Team GB. It didn't really matter who did what.
Yeah.
That's our goal. And that was really nice. All great games. Against really great opponents. Really enjoyed it. Very pleased with that as a trophy and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. So yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, it was a good start. And I remember we did our Bryan Brothers chest bump.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, this is alright now. We've won that.
Yeah.
But it's the
we're done
GT.
for the-
At least we've got
Yeah.
a win.
I was
It
like,
doesn't
it
matter.
doesn't matter what happens
Yeah.
in the GT, which took a bit of the pressure off going into the GT.
But it was cool.
Yeah.
And it was tons of fun. 3 good games. Very pleased with how we played, didn't you?
Yeah.
I was doing the doubles.
Yeah, it was awesome, and it's the first doubles tournament I've ever won. Not there are that many doubles tournaments.
Yeah.
And the
Mine too.
4th on my tournament win list.
Cool. I have no idea about my stats.
I think it's about 5th for you. That one.
What tournaments I've won?
I think so.
Don't know. Won 3 last year, 1 this year. Maybe 1 the previous year, I don't know. Something like that. But yeah, it was cool. And we were very pleased. So yeah, there we go. I think that's it.
Yeah.
And we had our victory beer and we went to bed.
Yes, we did.
Ready to wake up and do the GT.
Yes.
Which will be a longer tournament video, possibly 2 tournament videos.
Yeah, at some point.
That will come at some point in the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Anyone else who's at doubles, comment below, let us know what you thought.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth. Until next time, don't forget to comment, like, share and subscribe.
Pledge to Jamie on Patreon, like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Support your hobby.
And happy strategy battle gaming.
Did it work?
Not quite.